Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the Deceptilab. And if you were here for my last live stream, you know that the five-star Batch 13 was revealed last week by myself and several other of the official content creators. So, because of that, I'm starting a short series to analyze each of these bots as 4 stars just to see what we need to do to make them great as 5 stars. Now, in this series, I'm not going to include Rotostorm and Spinister or Rotebuster and Half Shell. I've already done videos on those bots, and if you need to see those, I added those to the link below in the bio so that you can check those out if you hadn't already seen them. But this is the perfect opportunity, I feel like, for the remaining bots in the batch to test them and to basically share my views with you guys and to get feedback from you guys as the player community so that we can try to build the best bot possible for you on the content creator and play tester side. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. Enjoy, and I'll see you out there. All right, everyone. And today we're going to take a look at Sentius Malice. And our primary focus here is to see what we need in order to make him viable at the 5 star level. And so I want to start by taking a look at his ability and his base stats. So here, I've got the Amalgamous Prime Core, which is one of the better cores to put on Sentius Malice. And his ability, Siege Mode, gives you for 10 seconds use range attacks, and it gives you a certain amount of points depending on the level. In this case, we've got him maxed out level 70, so it's 2,166. And then you take 50% less damage from attacks while you're using your ability. Now, his base damage starts at 523.1, and then you're getting some additional special class perks for 15%. So that carries him up to 601.6. Pretty good health, especially for a 4 star at 33, 120. That's also with a perk bonus, so his base health is actually 28,800. So very, very good stats. My concern is this. So when you look at bots that perform similar abilities, the ones that come to mind, so you have obviously the Sentius Twins, Malice and Magnus, and then on top of that, you're gonna have Impactor, and you're also gonna have Armada Megatron and LOP. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to the wiki and take a look to see how those stats compare and what makes each bot unique in that regard. So let's swing over there and take a look. All right, so I'm on the wiki and I'm taking a look at Laser Optimus and Armada Megatron, and just looking at their statistics compared to the statistics we just had for Sentius Malice and Magnus. And so the first thing that I look at is the overall health and DPS. So on the left here we have the 5 stars levels, and then we have the 4 star on the right. So we'll compare the 4 star to the 4 star since that's what we got right now. And the health points is going to be 28,700 for LOP and Armada Megatron, and then the DPS, which is going to be a little bit higher than Malice and Magnus. You got them in at 553.3, so about right around 30 points higher DPS wise. However, when you start to go look at the abilities, the ability level is has a multiplier anywhere from 2 to 2.8. But the big game changer there is that you're gonna have that EMP effect, which a lot of people use, particularly like an outpost or anything like that. So when you look at both abilities being 10 seconds long, they're both a good candidate for the amalgamous prime core. But it does seem that Malice actually does a little bit more damage, and he also has the damage reduction that he has for his ability, giving them 50% reduced damage. And he also doesn't have the damage reduction that takes place because his ability doesn't bounce, so it's focused on one target and then we'll move to the next target as deemed necessary. So next, let's also take a look at Impactor to see if there's for me, I got Impactor. I got him at level 70 as a 5 star, and I want to see how the stats compare to Magnus and Malice. On this page of the wiki, I actually want to take a look at Impactor, and honestly, he's got really impressive stats. His ability cost is really good at 5 +2. But when you look at that ability of the Energized Mind Blaster, it lasts 10 seconds as well. Um, it's going to cause laser damage, which of course is also going to be boosted if you're using Triptychon. He absorbs 70% of damage while the ability is running, as opposed to the 50% that is done by Sentius Malice, Sentius Magnus. And his damage actually increases, and it says by 1% for the 4 star and then 2% for the 5 star as he receives damage. So he actually becomes stronger as he's attacked. And he's got 70% reduction. So it's just like he's not taking a bunch of damage. Now, your damage multipliers for each level, it can go anywhere from 10 to 15. And then the explosion damage for the ability 11 has a multiplier of 2. So you can get some pretty beastie damage using Impactor. So we need to look at his stats, his base stats, and we'll concentrate on the 4 star. The 4 star, his health points are 27,000 even, which is it's a little bit less than Malice, but however, his DPS is actually much higher and it has a much higher multiplier for the ability. So with his DPS coming in at a maxed out 70 for 70 level bot, his DPS is at 624.2, which honestly, out of all of these bots, might make him the stronger of all of them. So we're gonna need to see Malice get somewhere in that neighborhood of that damage to kind of just be viable in that regard. And you're also going to need his ability to be a little bit stronger. So I do think I know a way to handle some of these things. And so let's talk about that as well. All right, so we're back taking a look at Sentius Malice. And one thing I want to point out is that, for all three of these bots, I'm going to use the Amalgamous Prime core. And in that case, while they're in the alternate mode, it's going to increase all damage by 15.5%. And it's going to restore 1% of health every zero point 0.5 seconds. Now, the difference maker, I think, for Sentius Malice is going to be the Sword of Balance. Now, keep in mind, technically, this is still in testing. It should be getting ready to get added here very, very shortly. But this is the test version that I was looking at when we're looking at adding additional special ability damage. We're looking at weakening the opponents. We'll talk about that a little bit more on a separate live stream. But and it's going to heal your allies. Once the truth's health is below 50%, you're going to have some damage reflection in there as well. And that's what we were looking at in test. If this stays this way, this is going to be the game changer for this particular bot. So what I'd like to do is try running a couple of tests with and without the Sword of Balance to see, because this very well could put him above the level of damage that you have for Impactor and for Armada Megatron. So let's take a look. All right, so I'm here on the base trial in Prime League hard mode, and I want to see how he does just against a base design like this. So I'm going to go ahead and drop him, try to keep him out of the range of the motion sensing mines. And one thing I like about Sentius Malice is he does have that special, not special ability, but that passive ability where he shoots his arrows. You can get a lot of additional damage out of it. And what I'm going to do, start using his ability. And let's see how he does in there. Now he's got some softer targets here in the front, so he's going to do some damage, not quite as much. Now let's do something similar with Impactor level 70. Now this is a 5 star. we're going to do something like similar on the opposite side. And let's see how that goes. Now he's taking a little bit of damage. He does have that multiplier. Seems like he starts off taking a little bit longer, but he starts getting faster as you go along. So right now it's about even. Let's take a look at what Sentius Malice looks like with the current version of the Sword of Balance. Now this time we're gonna add the level 10 5-star Sword of Balance to him. When you look at his Siege Mode special ability, you can already see the damage is increased quite a bit. And so let's see what it actually looks like running the exact same scenario on the battlefield. I think this is going to be the difference maker, guys. I think this is going to be the core that you need, or excuse me, well, it's one under the new weapon system, so it's going to fill his combat bot slot, and I think this is going to be the difference. So I'm going to drop him in similar position, get his special ability running, and I'm going to go ahead and let him use his arrow attack real quick. Then I'm going to go in and start using that ability. And right out the gate, you can see that that's much faster. He's taking out more targets. I think that this could be something that makes him viable in the next meta. And I'm trying to get in close enough. I think he's going to get tripped by a motion sensing mine here in a bit. So let's see if he can survive that. But I think that this is something that's going to allow him to be survivable in the future metas. But let's go back and take one more look at his stats. Now in this particular case, when I remove that Sword of Balance, actually I'm going to take a look at his stats for a second. So you can see that ability 2,740. I'm going to remove it. And you see it was originally at 2166. So quite a bit of a jump in damage per second for the special ability. I think that's going to be the game changer for him if we leave the Sword of Balance with that percentage boost. I think that's what's needed to keep him in the meta. I also think that depending on how Space 8 decides to do the 5-star release, if we have to wait for the combat bots to go through their cycle in the batch, which I suspect may be the case, you're going to have to wait a little bit. But as it stands, you're going to be able to use the 4-star version of the Sword of Balance. I'm not going to show the statistics for it right now. Like I said, all of this is still in testing, but I think it's going to take that Sword of Balance and it's going to take your Amalgamous Prime Core also to use in order to make him sustainable within the current meta. Now, I did get a question from one of my good friends and former teammates. Well, he's still one of my Alliance family mate, but yeah, by the name of Action Will was saying, well, with Sentius and Spinister and Rotostorm both being in the batch, like how do I decide how to use that Amalgamous Prime Core? If I get both of them, I'm going to want to use it on both of them. And that does present a little bit of conflict. Me personally, for the healing aspect, I'm going to use it on the bot that's got more health. Obviously, when we get the 5-star Sentius, he's going to have more damage and health than we already have for the siege mode, or excuse me, for the bot as a whole. And in addition, that's going to turn into a multiplier for the siege mode. I think that with that boost, because typically when you get these older bots to go into the batch, the boost is relatively modest. I don't think that modest boost is going to be enough for the 5-star to be sustainable. But I think when you start talking about somewhere in the 20s, possibly 30% of boost, and then you start when you use a specific weapon for that bot, I think that gets you where you need to go. And now Sentius Malice does indeed become relevant again. But let me know in the chat, what are your concerns? What do you think about Sentius Malice as a pick? I'm gonna go to the Deceptilab real quick, and we can continue to discuss. But yeah, by all means, One of the things that I like to do as a play tester, I have my opinions. You just saw them on this video, but I love to get your feedback. So by all means, leave comments. If you're watching this on the live, then go in there and type in the chat what you think. I want to pull as much feedback as possible so I know how the player community feels about it. In any event, I've got two more bots that I want to cover in this particular series. Let me know. Let me know what you think about all the bots and what you want to see improved before these bots are released in Batch 13. Until then, I'll see you next time, and I will see you guys on the battlefield. Freezius out.